Hey there ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this Transmog farming guide for the Ruins of Ahn Qiraj, also known as AQ20. First and foremost, if you wanted to know where the instance is, it is in the bottom left hand corner of Kalimdor. So if you go into Syphilis, into the ruins here, and then we have the ruins itself. So just before we make a start, just a couple of things to note. With this being a raid instance, if you do kill any of the bosses, then you're going to be saved to that particular boss lockout. So you want to make sure that you're not killing any of the bosses which are indicated with the skulls on the map. If you do engage any of them and you don't manage to kill them, then it is feasible to actually run outside the instance and just reset it. And then when you go back in, it'll just be back to normal again. However, one thing that is very important to note, you really do not want to engage this first boss, as he will just continually drag you back in and it'll take you absolutely ages to get out the instance. So in particular, stay away from this first one. Now, what I'm going to be showing you today is a full actual clear of the instance. There's a couple of ways of farming the instance itself. You can clear the majority of the mobs and obviously do a sort of full run, or you can choose to skip the majority of the normal trash and just kill the mobs towards the back end of this instance that I will go through as we go along. So I'm just going to make a start with my Loot Appraiser timer. So Loot Appraiser is up and running. So like I said, I will be just showing you a full run this time, so just engage on those. Now, one important thing to note at this point is all of these wasps will sort of do a knock-up attack. It does kind of slow you down. I generally just decide to pick all the mobs up in one go rather than having to sort of dismount and continually loot. So there you go. So I'll kill off these and loot that first pack. There we go. So already picked up an item with a value of 420 gold. So same again, I'll just pick up these last couple of packs. If you are max level, like I've just seen there, you do have to kind of run pretty much straight through them to aggro some of them. So let's pick up these last couple. And just get these guards in as well. There we go. So this is the first boss room. And like I mentioned earlier, this is the boss that you really, really want to avoid. So you can do a couple of things. If you're max level, then you can get quite close without actually aggroing it. If you're wanting to clear out these mobs, then you can sort of just do a ranged attack, tag them, and clear there. If you are sort of not a max character, then it may be worth just jumping up onto this ledge here. Jump up onto the ledge here. And just kind of running around, and you can just obviously ignore those. I'm just going to leave that pack while we're obviously running. There we go. Right, so just a quick look on the map. So obviously that was the first boss room here. Make sure you're staying clear of him. This second room here is just a full boss event. So any of these mobs that you can see in front of me, all of these trash guys, if you actually kill any of these, then they are linked to the boss, and they will engage the boss encounter. And actually all of these, like the Swarm Guard Needler, they don't actually have any loot whatsoever. It's just the captains that have loot. So it's a fairly minimal amount of chance where you can get anyway, and then you're engaging the boss, you have to dismount, and then you're going to end up running out the instance. It's not really worth the effort. So just on the maps, all that we've done is just run across here to these guards, pick these up, if you actually kind of run on top of them. Now, there's a couple of ways of running this particular room. I'm only going to run this left-hand side. You can run both sides of these, but just as you will notice in a second, the Scarabs will actually knock you up. So if you just look across, there is another set of Scarabs in the distance. Not sure how well you can see on there. Now these Scarabs do a knock-up attack that if you kind of get caught, can be pretty awkward. So as you can see, I'm constantly trying to get across this left-hand wall, just to ensure that if I do get knocked up, I don't kind of get knocked right across the room. So continue here. And I'm aiming for this pillar over in this corner. I might not actually make it this time because I was too busy looking across the other room. No, I should be okay. So you can pick up this last pack of Scarabs, and you want to be aiming for this pillar, because any more knock-up attacks that they sort of do onto you, if they charge, they don't knock you up, you just kind of get stuck to the wall, and then you can just AoE them all down. So like I said, if you really want to, you can go clear the other side of Scarabs. I don't particularly, because obviously with the knock-up ability and things, it does take a lot of time. There we have it. So those mobs here. So although I do say that this is like a full run, I'm not actually clearing every single trash mob in the instance. It's just not really time efficient to do so. So this room here, this is like the sort of final boss room of the instance. I don't actually kill any of these guys. These walkers, these Anubis Guardians, they don't particularly drop too much. And as you can see, they're really spread out. So it's trying to pick them all up individually takes a lot of time that it's really not worth it. So I'll just kind of run straight across this room. So straight across, down the stairs on the other side. Now this is where it can get interesting. The mobs that you're going to see down here, the silicate feeders, the ones that I'm going to talk about in a second, these are the ones that have got the potential to drop the glorious leg plate and quite a lot of the other high ticket value items. So you want to ensure that these guys are the ones that you're actually clearing out. This is pretty much the main reason why you're in the instance. All of the wasps and the other mobs, they will drop like quite a lot of varied transmog, but none of it will really be those sort of high ticket items. Now, because they are neutral, they do not aggro. So ideally, you want to be bringing a range class or something that you can obviously use to tag them with. And one important thing to note is they do all of these two do at the moment. Bear with me. Just trying to find one. There we go. They don't always have loot. So if you notice, those first two managed to drop some loot. This one didn't. So don't get worried if you're kind of wondering why they're not dropping any loot. The loot tables are fairly small, and if they don't drop any sort of transmog or any of the sort of grey items, then they will actually show up with no loot whatsoever. So clear out the wasps obviously again. And obviously pick up the silicate feeders as you go in. Last pack of wasps, just bring those in. And I'll just loot this first lot here. Okay. Looks like I've left some loot over here. Okay. Now, one other thing that I do want to show you. This boss, which is in the bottom right-hand corner of the instance here, if you get too close, he will actually engage. He will not chase you per se, but you will remain in combat for the rest of the instance. You won't be able to mount back up, and as you're running towards the entrance of the instance to reset, it will take you a lot of time. So, if you just kind of draw yourself an imaginary line, don't know if you can see this sort of honeycomb thing here and the one here. If you kind of treat this as an imaginary line that you're not to go past, then it will mean that you won't engage the boss and you'll be fine. Now, sometimes the silicate feeders will kind of head a little bit closer to the boss. This is where it's ideal if you've got range attack, and also using your looter rang will mean that you don't need to get too close to the boss itself. If you have a look at the back, there are a couple of silicate feeders just over there. I'm not sure if you can see very well from there. It's not worth obviously picking those up. If you get any close to those, then you will engage the boss, so just leave those silicate feeders. Other than those, you want to make sure that you're killing every single silicate feeder in the instance. So just apart from those couple, so I'll just kill those two there and continue on. So we're into this corridor here. Same again, it's a mixture of silicate feeders and these Hive Zara collectors and drones. So we're just going to nuke all these down. And straight into these silicate feeders as well. And then just here on the left hand side, and it's indicated by this sort of little reddish area here on the map, there is another room, and this has just got 6 or 7 silicate feeders in as well. Make sure you come into this room, because obviously the more silicate feeders you're killing, the greater chance you've got of dropping some of the sort of more valuable items from them as well. Now, it's worth noting at this point, I've not particularly picked up much transmog whatsoever. As with any sort of transmog farming, it is literally about the sort of RNG, sort of luck-based. And you may find some runs you're not getting much at all, some runs you're getting quite a lot. But consistently over the sort of continuous farming, you will start to see a sort of wide varied of transmog, ranging from anywhere from sort of 300 gold, 400 golds worth to the glorious leg plates, which at the current time is sort of anywhere around sort of 100k on the majority of auction houses. Just make sure I loot that last one. Okay, so we're out of here and we're into the hatchery area. Now, I don't kill any of the mobs in here unless this flesh hunter, he kind of walks up and down this little alleyway here. If he's there, I'll kill him. And as you can see, he's dropped an oozing bag. This does have a chance of having a disgusting oozing pet, doesn't this time. But it is worth killing those just for the off chance of getting something other than the Transmog. And same again, just quickly nuke these down and just mount up. Now, it's not worth particularly sort of grabbing these and running with them. You better just kind of nuking them where they stand because they can sort of disappear and teleport and mess around. So just nuke them as they stand and just keep on mounting up. It is slightly slower, but it's not worth having to wait around. And there's another flesh hunter here as well, so I'll pick him up while he's here. Go. And then last two mobs are these two guards here. So same again, we're okay killing these two guards. And we are back to the second boss room. So all that we're going to do now is just avoid these mobs again, and run out the instance. And then we're going to reset. And then you'd be ready to go again. So this has taken us about 10 minutes to do a fairly sort of complete run. Obviously, we missed the second lot of Scarabs out. I missed out a few of the mobs here, like these wasps. It's entirely up to yourselves, obviously, if you clear every single mob in the instance. From a personal point of view, I actually ignore a lot of this first room, a lot of the first boss room, and on my own personal runs, I just farm the Scarabs here, run across, and then do all of the silicate feeders. The main reason why I do that, and the reason why I've not shown you how to do that today, is because I already have quite a large stock of Transmog items that I've already got, and so there's not too much point in me just continually farming those. I'm looking for the sort of high value items such as the glorious leg plates and Vanguard and all the rest of it. So there you go, folks. It's a fairly easy farm. Obviously, you do not reach the instance cap with it being sort of anywhere between 6 and 10 minutes, so you can continually run this over and over. Just one last thing I want to show you. If you have a look in your bags here, I'll just quickly sort them. All of these idols and all of these Scarabs, you can't vendor them. You can put them on the auction house, but in theory, nobody really particularly buys them. So all of these idols, all of these Scarabs, you can't vendor them. They're a pain to delete. There are a couple of macros that you can use that instantly delete the items. So if you just quickly watch my bags, so idols gone and Scarabs gone. I'll link both of those macros. If you're going to continuously farm this and you're going to have a lot of farming, you're going to end up with a lot of Scarabs, a lot of idols. The fact that you can just get rid of them in one click frees up a lot of space in your bags and just makes it sure that you can just continue farming as much as you are wanting. So if you did enjoy this guide, folks, feel free to drop us a like, throw any sort of comments in the section below, and if you're wanting to be looking for some more Transmog guides, I will be doing some more in the future, so feel free to click on that subscribe button as well. Thank you very much.